I hate to be the one to bring it up. I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings. And nobody wants to hear it from somebody else that they've been wrong. I mean, people don't like to be wrong. People don't like to hear that they've been fucking everything up and doing it the wrong way. But you've been doing it the wrong way. When you sit down to watch the Stanley Kubrick 1980 classic, The Shining, and you get so excited, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this movie again. Every time I watch this movie, I notice something a little different. Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, I mean, their characters are just amazing. The acting is incredible. The cinematography is stunning. I can't wait to see this movie. You've been doing it all wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, before we really get into it, someone in the chat, let me know if you can hear me okay. And the number, if you want to call the show, is in the description. And when I get done on the diatribe, maybe a couple of you can weigh in with your opinions on whatever you want. You pick the subject. So, The Shining. I don't need to say anything about this film that hasn't already been said. I mean, we all love this film. And the truth is that 99.999% of the people who enjoy this film don't actually see the entire movie. Now, what do I mean by this? All right, let's get into it. So, back in the day, films were shot on 35 millimeter film. Okay, that is an aspect ratio of 4:3. It's square, as opposed to the rectangular shape, the 16:9 shape of your televisions today. Now, the logic, why would they do this? What they would do was they would shoot on 4:3. The reason is because that's the true aspect ratio of 35 millimeter film, and in a non-anamorphic ratio. But we're not even going to get into that. Okay, so the reason they would shoot 4:3, this square ratio, is because they would make tons of money airing these things on television. And so to make it easier, they would shoot in square 4:3, use that aspect ratio for the television airings. And theatrically, they would crop the film. They would when they would shoot the film in 4:3, they would take into account that they were ultimately going to release theatrically on 16:9. So they would use this, the top and the bottom of the frame as like a buffer. And so they would realize that they would plan it out so that they could crop the top and the bottom to make a 16:9 aspect ratio for theatrical release. Well, how does it affect you? I mean, you want to see the 16:9 version, don't you? You want to see that image fill up your entire screen. But I'm telling you, when you watch the 16:9 version, you're not seeing Stanley Kubrick's entire directorial vision. I mean, after all, yes, the movie was shot in 4:3, released in 16:9 theatrically. However, he put a lot of time and thought into the composition of the 4:3 frame, because he knew that most people would end up seeing this anyway. At that time, they thought most people would see this in 4:3 on television because, they could show it for years and years on television and only for a short time theatrically. And I know that when you pay a lot of money for these TV screens, I mean, televisions are not cheap, but you want to see that movie fill up the entire image of your 16:9 television set. But I'm telling you, the version to watch is the square version, the 4:3. Now, I'll get into that in a second. So on your television, it's going to look like this. And you're going to be mad. You're going to say, well, it's wasting my television set. This has always been a point of contention with film buffs and mundane, mediocre, Joey Bag of Donuts, six-pack viewers. Okay, so back in the day, when we still had 4:3 television sets, when we would watch a widescreen, a letterbox movie, it would cut off the top and the bottom of the picture. They would appear black. And your average viewer would say, it's wasting my screen. Why do I want to watch something? It's wasting my screen. You're saying, and the film buffs, the real film buffs would say, no, it's not wasting your screen. You're seeing more of the original vision of the film. And they say, but it's wasting my television set. I'm seeing less of the film. It's like, no, you're seeing more of the actual film as it was intended to be watched. Like if you're watching a biblical epic or, some huge sci-fi epic that costs $20 million to make, so what if you see a little bit less, you see more of the black space on the top and the bottom of the TV? That doesn't matter. You want to see the film. You want to see this millions and millions of dollars of production that went into this, and the directorial vision, and the other characters that are cut off on the side, and the sets, and the grandiose wonderment that is this world of film that we love. And today, people don't like to watch 4x3 on their 16:9 sets for the same reason. It wastes their set. But I'm telling you, if you respect Stanley Kubrick as a director and a visionary, and also he was a brilliant cinematographer. A lot of people don't know this about him. His earlier films, he would actually run his own camera. The 4x3 version, which will look like this on your television set, is the version to watch because you will see more of that film. So that was a short and probably too complicated than it need to be diatribe. And I just wanted to let you all know that because it's something that I discovered in my research. And let's go to the chats. If you want to call in, feel free. Oh, looks like I got my first missed call. Sorry about that. Won't happen again. All right, let's see what y'all have to say. Someone says Elvis to Presley. Geez, I don't know what that means. 2DM says Franz. Paul Blart fan says, what's up, Franz? Yes, you can call me, Haley Wood. The number is in the description. Just go to the description box, click that. You can call in. And while I was going on my diatribe, I got a couple missed calls. Sorry about that. Someone says the audio is perfect. Thank you so much. Someone whose name is too complicated to say. Wasn't The Shining about Rab Sheckling his tallywhacker in Bam's basement porn room, or was that The Shiner? That was The Shiner. Yeah. And Rab will admit this openly. At one point, he decided that he was going to pleasure himself as a young teen, and decided it would be a good idea to use Bam Margera's baseball glove and some kind of leather wax, if you can imagine that. You wouldn't want leather wax on your genitalia, but apparently Rab was so impassioned that he didn't mind much. Steven something or other says, Franz, what about the 4K Blu-ray of Shining? I don't know. I haven't really done 4K yet. I got a couple thousand DVDs and Blu-rays here, and I don't know. I haven't really got into the whole 4K revolution yet. I mean, how much better can it be than a normal DVD? I don't know. Then you got to get the special screen, etc. Have I ever met James Rolfe? No, not that I remember. Lost the chat here. Hollywood says, I don't care what I'm watching as long as it's a good movie. I kind of agree with that. There are movies, for example, I was watching Gus Van Sant's To Die For with Matt Dillon and what's her name, and I've been wanting to see that movie for a long time, but I couldn't get the 16:9 version, so I'll watch the 4:3 version. I do that with a lot of films that are out of print. Much love from Australia, says Josh S. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I know you called and I didn't answer. It's open now if you want to call back. Sex Lavillavalo 101 says she wants to know about my dinosaur poop adventure. Yes, I've done 2 seasons of Discovery Channel's Dino Hunters, And I'll show you something. You want to see something cool? I'll show you something cool. This is on my desk. I know it looks like a rock. This is no rock. This is a fossil. This is a chunk from a Triceratops skull. Now, these things were 12 foot high, 26 foot long. And if you look, you can see these grooves. All these grooves are where the blood vessels would course through the skull to feed the brain and the bone. Look at that. That's my paperweight, ladies and gentlemen, a big old chunk of Triceratops skull. I have quite a collection of dinosaur fossils downstairs in my showroom. Maybe I'll take you on a tour one of these days. Yo, Franz, do you ever, Justin Adia says, yo, Franz, you ever listen to the old Radio Bam episodes? If so, what was your favorite episode? There was an episode that had everybody on it. And it was like, the whole crew, and Phil and April were on. And we just shared old stories. And that was a really fun time. It was just very warm, and there was a lot of laughter. A lot of those episodes of Radio Bam, there was a lot of like biting sarcasm. And somebody was way too drunk way too early. I know I've been guilty of that myself. I'm not pointing the finger. And the later episodes were just horrible. I mean, I just stopped going. There was these weirdos living at Bam's house, and just the show got so lowbrow and white trash. I mean, for God's sakes, man, have some respect. Okay, looks like this live stream is drawing to a close. Someone, Hollywood asked, how's Bam doing lately? Is he still struggling? I mean, he was just on TMZ this morning. He's, obviously not doing Jackass 4. He's pretty pissed about it. I'd be pissed too, but I'm not taking sides. I look at both sides. Mitch Tucker says it's the best paperweight they've ever seen. Thank you very much. Dr. Hag says, hope you're doing well. Thank you. I am. Chester Rumble. Yes. Phil Orgera in the Chester Rumble. Any funny stories we may not have heard about filming Haggard behind the scenes? Yeah, I got one. Okay, so when we made the movie Haggard back in the day, more days than I care to admit, there's a lot of Tony Hawk stories from the set of that movie. And one of them that I haven't told was, Tony Hawk played a cop. He arrests Ryan Dunn for breaking bottles behind a Wawa. And we needed shots of Tony Hawk just driving around talking to Ryan. Now, we had the whole car rigged up because it was a very sunny day. So if I don't have a toy car here, but if you can imagine the car, we had like big cards to block the sun, kind of like a big white card, like a bounce card, and it was like all kind of gingerly rigged to the vehicle. I mean, a hard wind blowing would just blow this shit off. And so we explained to Tony, we're like, yeah, just drive around the building. We were shooting at a bar called Max McGee's, which was supposed to look like the back of the Wawa. And all he had to do, when we explained to him, is just drive in a circle around the building. And so we turn on the camera, the film's rolling, they're ready with their lines. And I don't know, I guess Tony was just tired and not really listening, just kind of like, Tony, just circle around the building, man. Whatever you do, don't go off on the highway. Okay. Maybe he was in his head, he was just rehearsing his lines or whatever it was. But he just wasn't listening to the directions he was given. And as soon as the camera was rolling, he pulled right off onto the fucking highway. And of course, the big bounce car blows off, hits the car in back of him. It was just, it was a mess. And it all worked out. I have footage of that somewhere. Maybe I'll release it someday if things go well. Favorite memories of the MTV days. I just gave a good one, I think. Don't want to Don't want to pepper these too much with old war stories. I like to release them slowly as time goes on. Someone asks, is that Josh S. asks, that as a picture of me and Jimmy Pop? Yes, it is. Remember the pan and scan VHS days? Yes, I do, 2DM. Pan and scan was a very expensive optical process. So what they would do was they would take if there was an anamorphically shot movie, that is the 16:9 format, what they would do was they would take it into this thing called the optical printer. The optical printer basically was a frame by frame photographing machine, and it would take a picture of the print. And so sometimes if there's action on this side of the frame and action on this side of the frame that can't be seen in the 4:3 frame, then I'm getting text. Sorry, that's distracting. I should turn that off. Then what they would actually do was be able to, in the optical printer, time out what they wanted to show and slowly move frame by frame the picture over to either side of the frame. Like I said, it was very expensive to do. If you watch the old Chinese like karate movies, the kung fu movies that came out in the 1970s, a lot of them were shot anamorphically, and they would just use a regular lens for the transfer. So a lot of them look elongated vertically, because if you're filming on the anamorphic process is you shoot on a 4:3 frame, but you use a special set of lenses that stretches the picture, and then when you show it on 16:9, it stretches the picture out and makes it look rectangular. But then when they would show them on TV, they were too cheap to get all the anamorphic shit that you needed to do to make it work right. So it would be a 4:3 picture, but everyone would just be long this way. Man, the technology just changes so fast. Do I have any good, Sausage and Gossip asks if I have any good memories from filming Where the Fuck is Santa? I'll probably get into that on a live stream one of these days, but that movie was very unenjoyable, and I was the writer, and I was an executive producer, and I was an actor, and I just have so much. I don't have any good memories from making that movie. Like, I really don't. Like, everyone was drunk and angry. People were stealing money from the production. It was just bad. And I don't have any good memories, but I'll share all the bad memories at another point in time. Colton Zebel says they have every version of The Shining. God bless you. Casey Jester says, Joe Franz, did you ever find that lifesaver that you've been looking for? I don't know what that means. Alien Fetus 420. Hello, Alien Fetus 420. I love your name. You want to know how many video game cabinets I own? I own a Star Wars cabinet, arcade 1-up, a 12-in-1 arcade 1-up, one that I built a Nintendo through, a MAME, one that I built a Sega Dreamcast through, one that I built a PlayStation through, and another one that I built Lethal Enforcers through. I love the gun games. They don't have gun games anymore. They just have, you sit there with the controller and move the cursor around. I want to hold a plastic gun and point it at the screen and shoot things. That's what I want to do. But they don't really do that anymore. I guess it's not profitable, or they're scared that they'll be implicated in some conspiracy plot to subvert the youth of America towards violence. I don't know what it is, but man, the gun games were just really cool. And you can't play the gun games on newer TVs. You have to find the old CTR televisions, which I have a bunch of them in my basement, so I'm okay there. Brad Derby's a big fan. I love it. Okay, looks like we're about to wrap this up, unless I get a call. Hey, Cat in Color, meow. Cat in Color in the chat right there. That is the person who is partially responsible in a very big way. When I say partially, I don't mean like a little bit. I mean like a huge chunk of remastering the CKY films. I mean, Cat devoted 5 months of her life to bring this to fruition. And Kat, I love you. Yes, Hollywood. I was on the set of Chasing Amy, and I recently got a chance to tell. Maybe I'll tell that story. I've told this story a couple times before. Now it's not the time. But when I was on the set of Chasing Amy, I ruined a scene of that movie, not through no fault of my own. And I recently, my booking manager, Dave Altman, and Kevin's booking manager are the same, and he got us in, me and Novak and CJ, into to meet Kevin Smith. And I got to tell Kevin Smith to his face how I ruined his movie, and he actually remembers it, which is actually pretty fucking cool. Yes. Paul Miranda says Cat in Color is a hero to the community. Indeed. Okay. Dragon Crypto says, hi, Franz, big fan. And Damon Zod says that I haven't played Carnival, the horror shooting game. If it's a new game, I haven't played it. The most modern game I play is GTA 3, which is one of my favorite games of all time. But that's as recent as I'll go. So Josh S.A.S., how do we call in? In the description, there is a phone number. You dial that phone number in the description. They say if you point down, when you say in the description, people will look. But if you just say it's in the description, they won't look. They'll never see it. So isn't that weird? So all right, one last question. What South Philly bar do you have the number 2 incident in? Oh, Ray's Happy Birthday Bar. No, as a matter of fact, Ray's Happy Birthday Bar, I used to live half a block away from there before it became a hipster bar. And it was bad. Like, it was bad. Like, it was not fucking cool. Like, that's where all the junkies and real alcoholics went. And I remember they would sell 6-packs of Schlitz for $5. And they would like put them in a bag. They would just take 6 beers and put them in a bag. And there was actually a lot of bars used to do this. I can't imagine how disgusting it must have been before the advent of air conditioning, but there was actually a trough in front of the bar that you would just stand there and piss in. Like, you would stand at the bar, whoop out your thing, and just piss. Like, the urinal was at the bar. It was the bar. And you can imagine before that, I'm sure a lot of these places didn't have running water in it all the time. It's just on a hot summer day, you're just sitting there drinking and breathing in all that piss air, evaporated piss. Just, oh God, horrible. So no, the bar that I had my incident in was 1601. And we used to go to Murder Mondays with Vinny Paz of Jedi Mind Tricks and his whole crew. And I grew up with Vinny. I mean, we've been good friends for over 20 years. And yeah, there was a lot of late nights till 2 a.m. nights, and then they would let us hang out a little bit after closing till about 2:30. And then a lot of nights we would come to my house. It was like, I only live a couple blocks away, for an after party. And I could tell you some stories, and you wouldn't want to hear any of them because none of them are good. I mean, yeah, Vinny Paz, love him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think this stream has run its course, and thank you so much. Isn't this great? Isn't this great now that I'm doing this? Isn't this fun? We're just all hanging out, and I just I appreciate you guys all watching. And I don't ask for donations or super chats or anything like that. I don't believe in it. This video is not monetized. I don't want commercials running on it. That'd be stupid. But if you want to help out, tell a friend. I love you. Big announcement very soon. In the next couple days, you're going to learn how to get your names in the credits of the CKY films. For a measly $20, you will be able to get your name in the credits of CKY 1 through 4, Haggard and Ming Hags, all 6 films for $20, your name. And it's not some limited edition thing where you just get, there's just one edition with your name in it. Your name will be in these films for eternity. Isn't that fucking exciting? I mean, have you ever heard of anything So ludicrously wonderful and delicious. All right. Thanks again for watching. I love you. Bye-bye.